Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to Soul Cards and Connection. You know what I have to do is I have to listen to our theme song again before an intro, you guys, so that I can sing song. So like it doesn't sound jarring when I welcome us back to the show, Soul Cards and Connection. I think it'll be so fun. I am Jaime.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm April. Jaime, maybe next season you can just sing our intro and that will be
so fun.
So magical. Welcome to Soul Cards and Connection. This is a podcast where we explore tarot and ourselves and ritual and astrology and just talk about how to bring these things in our day-to-day and use these as tools for our life. Today, we are talking about the Knights. We are continuing our discussion of the court cards, and Knights are on topic for today.
I'm psyched.
I love the Knights.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Rachel.
I know. I'm excited.
These cards are hot. These are my dudes. I mean, I know nothing about these cards, but like I married a knight. In your face.
They're like I heard this explained one time. So, we have our queens and our kings, and then we have our pages that are kind of like the princesses in the deck, and then the knights are like the princes. So, in the more traditional aspects of tarot. But the knights, they rule all of the mutable signs in the astrological zodiac, and they are the action cards in the deck.
What's a mutable sign?
And the mutable signs are... So they are the double-bodied signs.
Oh.
All of them. So Gemini, you have Pisces, you have Sagittarius, and you have Virgo. So all of these have dualistic principles. And the reason why they rule the mutable signs is because the Knights are about movement and moving forward. And so these signs have a lot of active kind of movement within themselves, right? Gemini is about the twins and back and forth, and it's about how we move and the speed at which we're meant to move at. So a lot of the Knights represent, if you're looking at tarot for timing, which is a fun tool and something we might be able to explore a little bit later, they represent different timelines. So I find that really fun. Like,
that's fascinating.
The Earth, the Knight of the Earth is like things happen in years. The cups might represent things that happen in months. The air signs and the swords might represent things that happen in like weeks. And then you have the wands, which happens really fast. Fire energy is fast. So those are things that timelines, those can happen in days. So these are fun. I love these cards. I'm so excited to like get into all of them in a little bit more detail. But which one?
Wait, I just want to say, sometimes I think, gosh, how long will we be able to have this tarot podcast? Will we ever run out of topics? And then things like this happen. And I'm like, we will have it forever because there are so many layers to tarot that we will have topics to talk about until the end of time. So no worries, you guys. We're going to be here for a bit. We're going to explore it all and it's going to be fabulous. We're going to understand all these things.
But also, I think that's an interesting point, talking about time, obviously. And, as you follow us on this journey, there's going to be I want to get to the point where, remember you used to have call-in shows? I want people to be able to call in and go, I just pulled this card.
Yes.
And we can go, ooh, girl.
That would be amazing.
Would that be amazing?
We got to figure that out.
Okay, audience, let us know. Let us know if you want to do that, because that would be amazing. We'll figure it out.
Maybe we could start with the Knight of Pentacles because he represents Earth and kind of this slow process that happens. He's the slowest moving knight in the deck. And knights genuinely, that's fun. They represent...
I know, he's kind of dreamy. He's kind of dreamy. And he's my only knight who doesn't, in the Silver Tarot, who doesn't have a helmet on.
Mine has a helmet, but it's open.
He's like, I don't know. It's dreamy.
I like that one. Yeah. Oh, he left his horse? What kind of knight leaves their horse?
No, it's following him.
Yeah. Okay. So the Knight of Pentacles, all knights due to their amazing ability to move, represent the element of fire as a whole. Remember, the pages represented earth. The queens that we've already discussed represented the element of water. Just as a general rule, the knights represent fire.
Interesting.
And so they mix that kind of underlying element with their actual element. So this is like fire plus earth. And so it's about the ability to take what you've been wanting to manifest and all of the things that happen with the typical pentacle energy, things you're bringing into reality. And my card shows him he's going across a field and the horse is kind of trotting behind him. And the pentacles are like lining up like a he's seeding the ground. So this
Hmm.
is like the hardest working archetype in the deck. This guy is a hard worker and works for years, right? This happens over a long period of time about how we achieve financial security and success through repetition of these cycles, through that stability of leaning into the process of hard work and like what that looks like. So I think that energy is very representative. What do you got?
Well,
Ooh.
so in my Ravens tarot,
Is that a spade?
yeah,
It
it's like
looks
a
like a
shovel. When you said hard work, I looked down and there was a shovel there. And I was like, yeah,
That
hard
check.
work. Yeah, that checks out.
It's, Virgo is the mutable sign of Earth, and it represents this kind of pragmatic, perfectionistic quality of like the things that we do all the time and like just feeding into that. Like what do you take pride in with your work?
Mm.
And what do you put a lot of effort into? This is the archetype that like the knight that plays the really long game of life. Like they're not here for a quick win. They're here to plant the seeds and really nurture that as this process happens.
So when we were looking at pages as messengers and the start of pulling into our physical reality, either our thoughts or our passions or emotions, we're coming into physical reality. And then here we have knights who are really doing it. They are putting in the work. They're moving forward on this journey that's come into our physical reality.
Absolutely.
I think I was pages in my 20s, knights in my 30s, queen in my 40s. Like I can definitely I can
Jamie.
Yes.
when she's saying these things, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that matched." If I was doing tarot in my 20s, I would have been pulling pages left and right. Left
Look
and
at
right.
That
Yeah.
analogy hits home so deeply in terms of, we talk about connecting the cards to something in real life to remember them because there's so many. I
Yeah.
think that analogy is going to be it for me for the court cards.
Same.
Pages in your 20s, knights in your 30s, queens in your 40s, kings in your 50s. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get
We'll
there.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I love that. Oh,
Nailed,
Jamie.
nailed it. Nailed
They
it.
make me feel smart, you guys. I love this team so much. Okay, so I definitely feel that King of Pentacles, I mean the Knight of, sorry, I saw the K in my head, but the Knight of Pentacles, I definitely feel that energy. I identify with it. I understand it deeply.
Mm,
There's no confusion for me there. And I think that that's the difference is because pages in your 20s, I was so confused all the time, but I
yeah.
had all this bursting new energy and I just took on as much as I could and I didn't know what the hell I was doing ever. But I was excited about each and every opportunity, right?
Yes.
So I deeply resonate with that person I was when I was the Knight of Pentacles. So I'm curious about this one
The Knight of Cups.
because cups always surprise me.
I feel like the Knight of Cups is the archetypal, the knight in shining armor kind of in your deck, right? He's the romancer. He's the one that like gets you. He's it's about soul, it's about passion, it's about moving forward with your passion, what like, true love. This card can represent all of that being in love with life and where you're at. And when you talk about how like in our 20s and then in our 30s, right? So the Page of Cups might represent a new love, and then the Knight of Pentacles represents the moving forward with that relationship, or like the embodiment of like a soul partnership and connection, and like what romances you in your life currently. And I love this
Okay.
card.
Let me say, because I've had this discussion before, I was a pathological dater in my 20s. Like, I just kept starting new relationships and then ending them immediately. Not because anything was bad, but it was like, hey, it's new. I love new. And then it was not new by the end of the week or the month. I don't know. And, the marriage proposals I got, I was like, no, like there was no way. I was like, I'm like 10 years old. Why are you? No, I don't want babies. And I'm in my 20s. And then my night came when I was 30, and I still had no idea I was ever going to get married or have a child. I was like, no, thank you. I loved dating. I loved new. I loved the new part of a relationship. I think we talked about this, like the new kissing was so like, it was great. It was that passion. And then my night came and I was like at 30 and I was like, God damn it. God damn it. There's no more. This is the new every day is that one.
Oh,
It's wild. This all resonates is what I'm saying.
That's very sweet.
So in the Lightseers Tarot, the
I
image
love
Hello.
definitely supports that.
Yes, handsome
Guy. I know. I was like, I want him.
Okay, so Rachel's Lightseer Tarot has a man sitting
Like
on
Perry,
a
90210.
very
I know.
dreamy. He's very cool. He's sitting on a stool. I don't know. He's sitting in a chair. He's holding a bouquet of roses, and he is looking at you, ready to hand those flowers over. Has he set up a picnic for you? What's on the ground? Oh, he set up a picnic for you.
A love note. He's got
A
he's
love
ready to
note.
propose. He's ready.
You guys, this is my Jason Bieber. This is he courted me so hardcore. It was like an official courting. I'm not kidding. Like, I was like, this is bizarre, but okay. Yes, he looked like that card.
You're ready. You're ready for it.
When you look at the energy of like the Knights having fire and the passion that comes from like moving forward with that, and then the combination of the cups, which is about emotions and stuff like that, you get this combination of steam between those two, right? And so when you think of like what
fire and water,
steamy, and this is a very steamy card. So if you get this in your deck, like, whew,
wow. Can I tell you that I did not expect the conversation to go here today, and that I was looking at my cards who are like men in like traditional knights, and I was like, I don't know, is this going to be a boring conversation? And here we are talking about being swept away by the Knight of Cups.
I am digging it. I feel the Knights. I had no idea what the Knights were about, but I feel this so strongly. I think this is a card I identify with.
So this is like
feeling it.
Knights of Cups is like love, but in your physical reality, in action, moving forward.
True love and relationship
moving forward. Okay. Okay.
Cups are about our emotions and our relationships. This is about really achieving and moving forward without a relationship. It's a wonderful sign to get in a spread about new love, or like embodying that love in a way that you want to move forward in life in partnership together. And then on the lower octave of it, because we always, if you do look at the shadow sides, maybe we're missing the signs that are around us. Maybe we're like too sensitive to a relationship, and maybe we need to like protect our heart a little bit more. There's ways of like looking at this card in all of the levels and octaves, but it's one of my favorite cards in the deck, and I love seeing it pop out. And I'm like, oh, well, that's going to be good for this weekend. Like,
we can understand now that we've learned we are on board with the Knight of Cups.
It's a fun card to get.
I would really love to hear about the Knight of Swords, because
that's the one I have on top next too.
I'll tell you why in a minute.
I love that we're actually going in the order of the timeline that
Are we?
Yeah, like just naturally. That is how we're dealing with it. I love it because, again, Earth is slow. That takes years. cups are water that takes months, and our swords could take weeks. So this is like the imagery of the Knight of Swords is like the most iconic knight in the
Yeah, for
deck,
sure.
right? It's what we see and like know of in all of our archetypes as the knight, and it's like he's really fast moving, but not as fast as the wands. But he's like on charge and he's charging forward in his life. And remember, swords are our air. And so this is a combination of fire and air, which is just like intense intellect and that inspiration. He's like in my card in the Light Seers Tarot, he's like running towards his motorcycle, which is representative of his horse. Like the horse was too slow, like he's moving forward and
Wow.
he's chasing his dreams. It's about swiftness and moving towards that goal in a very skillful way, right? So this knight is confident. This knight is energetic. He's fearless. He wants to exchange his ideas and make them into reality, and it just like represents wit to me in this fast kind of way. And I love that. Like, what are you running towards in success?
Oh my God, that's when I applied to grad school too.
There you go.
Was in my like later 30s, and like I went to grad school in my later 30s. Okay.
Okay.
Like it can represent clarity and getting clarity in order to move forward.
Oh my God.
Okay, here's one of my favorite things to do, you guys, is to have Rachel give us all her wisdom and then to pull up a card that is got such different imagery and hear how she responds on the spot. And then we're going to do that right now with my Ravens Tarot and the Knight of Swords, because
surgical scissors?
if you can't see our screen, you should go to our Patreon and watch this video. But my Knight of Swords has, there's some kind of scissors that are closed, but the bottom half are covered in blood as if they have been stabbing someone.
Yeah.
I am so intrigued to hear your interpretation.
So I mean, this one definitely represents the shadow side of this energy. The swords and having the two blades represents the double-bodied sign and the as all the knights do in the mutable energy that happens, right? So when we're looking at the shadow side in the Knight of Swords, sometimes this energy can come out as being unfocused or being like too cutthroat, which is what I first heard when I saw this imagery. Like you're being too sharp, too like scattered, and being very like sometimes hard-edged when you're making decisions. Like, what are you willing to cut away in order to make you move faster?
Oh,
wow.
Is how I would interpret that.
Wow.
And like we were talking, April and I were talking about cord cutting the other day, and like this represents that. Like, what do you need to cut away in order to gain clarity that will lighten you up and make you move faster? And I think that is a shadow worth looking at in a lot of the archetypal energy that happens when we're gaining momentum in an idea. Like in all of the different things that you do, Jaime, for when you write a book, this is the editing process. This is how you edit. You have to cut things out that don't need to be there.
Yeah. Kill your darlings.
Yeah. So you can move forward.
Yeah. That's wild.
She did it again, you guys. I knew she'd have an answer.
She was
amazing. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Sorry, not sorry, because I love to hear what you have to say because you always know.
So what I think is super interesting is that all my knights are profile views, all of them. And then we get to the Knight of Wands and all of a sudden he's charging at me. What? Why are you charging at me, sir?
That's some intense energy there. Wow. He's like a golden knight. Like
he's dreamy too.
He is dreamy too. Mm-hmm.
So he's all decked out in his armor and it's all gold and red, and he's on his horse and he's holding his staff with his flowers, and it's just like this beautiful energy of pride almost, and I get this confidence from him.
Oh, powerful. It's a
very powerful energy. And like
Ooh.
And it's
And
fire, right? That's why I have all the red and orange.
yeah,
I'm
all the
learning.
color. Yeah, look at you. I love it. And so this is like a double fire on top of fire. So this is fast. This is like passion and charisma and like really what motivates you to
Yeah.
like
If you're not seeing the screen right now, you can, like April said, go to our Patreon and watch it. But this is like when the knight or the king come up in the war and they
mm.
come alone they ride to the opposition and one last chance or we're going to kill you all, right? This is like when they ride up in battle and they say, we're going to war unless you agree to our terms.
See, when I saw your card, Jamie, I thought the opposite. I thought this was like our celebratory march after the war. We've won, and now we've shined all of our armor, and we're going to parade around the village so people can see that we are glorious.
I definitely like yours better.
I think you both just described the shadow element and the successful like light element that happens
Ooh.
from that energy, right? We have to move forward, right? And so it's this joyful attitude of having achieved
What?
the momentum. And in my Light Seers Tarot, it's a woman who's literally gotten off of her horse in order to like take a moment to celebrate and
You're right.
move
That's
and dance. And,
awesome.
she's like beating the drum and it's like lighting up her spirit and the fire aspect of it.
Is that her hair or is that a feather coming off her head?
No, that's her hair. It's like dancing and she's like whipping
That's
herself around, right? It's like
Yeah, it's
she's
beautiful.
this is ecstasy in my opinion. Like this is like that someone who has like this fast energy of passion and adventure in their spirit.
Mhm.
And like your knight, Jamie, he's ready to like go forward in that excitement that happens in a new adventure or and also like it's about alchemizing the fire aspect of within yourself in order to like produce and to just be that kind of trailblazer energy of and be motivated and just lost in the passion of what you're doing.
Wow. So I, for my Ravens tarot, have it's interesting because it's a sword that's on fire because we are talking about the
Oh.
knights, but we are talking about wands, and it is ablaze with fire. And I hear passion, I see passion, I see movement. Like there's a lot in this symbolism for
Oh,
me.
that's
And Rachel, go.
it is beautiful, and it really is about, like oh, I love that imagery. The sword is being forged almost, like, it's just
Yes.
come out
Mm.
of being, made, and it's the movement of putting forth all of your creative spark into what you're planning on doing,
Ooh.
and it's w in all of the energy of the nights, it's like, what are you willing to, like, take a risk on? Like, what are you willing to move forward with in passionate fury and just like go towards like taking all of that you were making and moving forward. It's it's interesting this it might be a tangent, but like this card and all of the cards have a corresponding card to the major arcana. And I bring this up because it's one of Jamie's favorite cards, which is Temperance.
Mm.
And this card corresponds to that and this ability to take something and alchemize it. And so fire is and forging in fire is the ability to like take what your passions are and when you move forward with those passions in your life, there's something happening inside you spiritually and it motivates you differently. It changes you inside as much as it's going to affect you and how you operate outwardly as well. Like being motivated with your passions you can tell when someone's really living in that ability to do that. I don't know. I love the nights for so
Yes.
many reasons.
And I
Um,
think all of that rings true to me from my 30s. Like everything you've said, they talk about formative years being your teens, but honestly, maybe that was true at some point, but my formative years were really my 20s, and my 30s are really when I applied so much of that and forged who I am today from the choices I made then.
Yeah.
And I like this person. So I like the Knights.
When you were speaking, Rachel, also, I kind of was reminded, and I'm sure we've talked about this before, but it feels significant to again just name is that we are talking about our mind, body, heart, spirit within these elements, right? Pentacles is our body,
Yeah.
and cups is our heart,
Yeah.
and swords is our mind, and fire is our spirit. So I love that not reframe, but connection point when we're talking about each of these, and we're talking about movement, but like, what is the movement of our spirit?
It's like what also gives us purpose in life. So spirit can also be interpreted through how we choose and operate. And it doesn't always have to pertain to a career, but like what gives us purpose? Why are we here? What are we meant to create and do and give back to our culture around us? Like what are we here to leave?
Mm-hmm.
Um and with swords it's like our voice, like what are we meant to say? And like you said, with our heart and our emotions, like what are we meant to feel? And with earth, like how do we honor our body? And I think that that's such it's something I have to keep reminding myself on all the time. And these elements play out, and when I see it and around me, it kind of surprises me sometimes. And they're like, oh yeah, oh, that's what that
Good reminder. It is also a wonderful segue into our creating a meaningful moment for this week as we are asking these questions aloud. Our offering for creating a meaningful moment is a journal prompt for this week. And if you journal, you can jot this down in your journal. If you don't, you can just take a piece of paper on your desk and write it down. This does not have to be anything formal. This is whatever works for you. And the journal prompt offering is what is worth fighting for?
Mm.
And maybe you write that down, you let it simmer for a bit and come back to it. Or maybe you just let yourself flow with it, trying to just write and let whatever come out and just see at the end what came out for you. What is worth fighting for?
Oh, good reframe,
Mm-hmm.
especially now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
100%.
very apt question.
Very apt question.
Speaking of apt, which sounds like app, you can use your voice memo app or your notes app on your phone to journal. And that way it takes sort of the pressure out of putting it down on paper.
I love that tip. I love that tip. And closing our episode today with taking a collective breath together. So, wherever you are, taking a moment to pause, perhaps placing a hand on your heart if that feels right for you. And all together, we will take a deep breath together in and a deep breath together out. And may you stay connected to yourself as you step back into your week.